So, Josh, congratulations. I suppose my first question must be, what does it feel like to be a world record holder?
I'm not sure really. It's quite surreal. It hasn't really sunk in because I've just been so kind of immersed in the small steps of the process that I don't suppose it's really sunk in yet. To be honest, it just feels like normal. It just feels like I've just been training this week as normal, moving on to the next thing, I suppose. But it's quite surreal seeing the response, like being in the mirror, the sun, being on BBC News and stuff. Like it's quite crazy, really.
We'll talk about the process to prepare for that world record attempt in a second, if we may. But let's go back to the beginning, Josh. Why did you decide, or what led you to want to become a strongman in the first place?
Well, I've always seen it on TV at Christmas. I've always been found it really entertaining, but I've just not never found it that relatable. Like, I've always thought, like, oh well, it's very impressive, but it's something that I can't do because you need to be big and you need to be massive, you need to be like huge. But then I found out that you could get stuff light enough, like the implements to train the strongman events and movements. You could get the implements light enough to actually learn and be a beginner in practice. So then I started practicing and just really enjoyed it. Just did it for the fun, really, and then decided that I wanted to focus on it as my main sport. So I gave up my other stuff, football, tennis, other stuff, and just decided one day that I wanted to be really good at it one day. So committed to the steps that were going to enable me to do that, I suppose. And that was about maybe 5 years ago or so now. Yeah.
So it's not just about building up to world record attempts, though, is it? It is competitions and everything else that goes along with that. There's quite a significant amount involved in the whole thing, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's just like anybody who works towards anything and anything that they want to be successful in. There's nothing fancy about strongman. That's like, it's not the be all and end all. It's just something that I chose because I found it fun and I enjoy it, and it's just something that's convenient for me to excel at and practice and be good at. And I've kind of proven with my approach that, you know what, you don't have to be suited at something. If you're committed to doing it for long enough and enjoying the steps on the way, that you can get good at anything that you want. Because when I started doing strongman 5 or 6 years ago, there's videos of me doing it and struggling with everything. I wasn't particularly good at any element of the kind of stuff that comes up in the competitions, but it didn't matter because I enjoyed it. I was actually a lot better at other things, a lot better at tennis, but I just enjoyed this more and decided that I wanted to stick it out, and I could train it all year round. So to anybody listening, I would say that just like find something that you enjoy and commit to it, and just stick to the process.
The stereotypical strongman, if you like, Josh, when you watch it on the telly, you are, I don't know, you have this vision of kind of a Jeff Capes kind of character, I suppose, don't you? But looking at you now, you are obviously a fine physical specimen, of course, but if you were to, let's say, walk past you in the supermarket, I wouldn't necessarily say you are a strong man, you can lift heavy weights. So the two don't seem to correlate, do they?
Yeah, well, that's the appeal for me personally, is because, and I suppose that's why my approach like seems to have longevity, is like the fact that I can go out, I can switch off, because I can go out the weekend, I can go to the park with my daughter, I can just we can go out into town and do stuff, and I just wear normal clothes, and people will be surprised that I even lift. I don't even look like particularly muscular or anything. I'm just your average kind of run of the mill bloke that just kind of enjoys it and has got good at it, I suppose.
So, a world record attempt. When did you decide that you wanted to do it? And what was the process behind the training towards it?
Well, the actual record, like I suppose, like I first got the idea of going for a record probably about 2.5 years ago. I just thought, oh, actually, like Don't get me wrong. My approach is about getting good at everything, and getting good at everything within strongman. I won a good competition last year. Won the title of England's strongest man under 90 kilos. So that's something to get to a competition win like that. You can have no weaknesses, I suppose, and you've got to be good at all the different facets that could come up within a competition. But I suppose the single arm dumbbell, I just decided probably about 2 years ago, I thought this is going to be the first exercise that this is probably going to be the easiest and first exercise that I'm going to do that I can be the best in the world at. So that I kind of got that in my head, and it just kept chipping away at it, I suppose, until there was an opportunity probably about a couple of months ago on ESPN. Have you heard of ESPN? That in America there was a 2-hour slot that the strongman managed to get in America to do a record breakers show, for different strongmen to have a go at the different records or whatever. And I applied to. I messaged the organizer and I said, look, I think I can do it. Here's my training videos. And I kind of got dismissed and not taken seriously enough, I suppose. So that just kind of lit stoked the fire, I suppose, and just made me kind of want to prove that I can do it. So I asked an organizer in England. I said, look, you're doing the England strongest man under 80 kilos comp. Would you be open to me going for the dumbbell world record? Would you be able to set it up for me? And he said, oh, well, if you think you can do it, do you think you can do it? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. So then I just committed to doing it and followed it through, and yeah.
A 2.5 year journey. A 2.5 year journey then, Josh. So I suppose during the pandemic and lockdown, you had lots of time to think about it and to practice. Yeah,
well, a 2.5 year journey. It's much longer than that, to be honest. But yeah, during lockdown, we there's like a team of us who train together, who I coach, and it's just, to be honest, like the lockdown for us as athletes, the lockdown has been fantastic for us, because we're just in the kind of mindset that I have a gym, but the gym got closed down, so it was basically we had to do what we could. Like, did people want to continue with training? And of course they did. So we were training outside in the garden. I was wrecking plant pots in the garden, dropping weights, putting holes in the garden and stuff like that. So we ended up training on the road. We were training on the road near the Vale, near my dad's house. Like when it was raining, we were keeping shelter under like railway bridge and going down, lifting the weights under there. I was carrying the weights out on the road, doing the moving events out on the road. I carried like a 230 kilo yoke on my shoulders. I did a mile on the road during lockdown. That was pretty crazy looking back. But these guys that kept going through during lockdown, so myself, and obviously I've got this record of I won the under 90 kilo England strongest man title last year. There's guys that I coach who won Britain's strongest man under 80 kilos, first and second. They've won other national titles. We've competed at world strongest man under 80 kilos. I coached a lady who's won the under 64 kilo world strongest woman. Like I suppose we've all got the I suppose, what's the word? The same attitude in common. Like we've just been relentless. Like none of us have had a day off. We've had so many reasons not to train and to halt training and have a little bit of a break, and all different things happening in personal life. But all of us have just kept going no matter what. and are now kind of reaping the fruits of our labour, I suppose.
What's the mindset, Josh? Because as somebody who, well, you can probably see how puny my arms are. How do you get
look
yourself?
at mine are puny. Look, that's the point.
I suppose this is what you're saying, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
It's all about the attitude. It's not necessarily you can be the strongest, physically the strongest person in the world, but if you've not got the right mindset, you're not going to achieve it.
That's it. The mindset's so important. Look, like I don't find the numbers that impressive because I'm so immersed in the day to day and I just see the micro progressions, right? But sometimes it's quite interesting to put it into context. And the fact that I weighed 12.5 stone on Saturday, and then, which obviously people can imagine the kind of size of somebody 12.5 stone. And then the weight that I lifted on the Sunday was, I think it was 15 stone 7 or 15 stone 10 or something like that. But yeah, that's my whole point is if you're just determined and relentless, like you can achieve things that are kind of inconceivable to many. And just, so that's what I'd say to anybody listening on the pursuit of anything. It doesn't have to be strongman, like just any pursuit or anything that you want to excel in or succeed in. Yeah. Like just remember, that's an important thing what I've just said. I chose strongman to be good at. Like it wasn't like something that I fell into and I was like, oh, you're pretty good at this, so do you fancy doing this? It was like, no, I enjoyed it, so I kind of committed to it, and I'm like, right, I'm a bit rubbish at this now, but 5 or 6 years down the line, or if it takes 10 years, I want to be good. And I suppose that's the thing that I'm so proud of personally, is not the fact that it's I can lift X amount of weight over my head. It's actually that I've just set my mind to something that is inconceivable to most people years ago, and I've had so much kind of advice or like say kind of people trying to steer me in other directions, and I've just taken everything with a pinch of salt and just believed in myself the whole way, and I've proven that is such a powerful thing. If you're prepared to be relentless and you believe in yourself, then it's a brilliant recipe for success in any endeavor.
It's an absolutely fantastic message, that is, Josh, and thanks so much for those words, because I think they will resonate with a lot of our listeners. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to, and I think that is a fantastic attitude to have. There's also your charitable element to it as well. It wasn't just all about the glory of lifting the weight. You wanted to raise money for a brilliant cause. Tell us more details about
that. So in February, I realized that people were watching my progress on the dumbbell. So I used my kind of social media reach to put on I basically said, like, I'll do an online lesson that we could video live, and people can people chip in, like people pay £10 or whatever, or a donation, and I'll donate to all the money to the Mental Health Foundation. So we raised £382 for like a 1 hour session. It was crazy. I couldn't believe the response. So again, you like 2 weeks ago, couple of weeks before the dumbbell record attempt, I just thought it'd be great for the exposure of the event, exposure of the sport in terms of like the lighter weight classes, exposure of myself, but also use that exposure to raise money because I'm not bothered about money. I earn enough money, to be honest, to do what I want to do, which is just lift weights. I'm sad. I've got nothing else to do. But yeah, you use that reach to afford. People offered people the opportunity to sponsor me and sponsor the event, and I said that all the money, well, I said 105% actually, because I'll put all of the money towards Ukrainian refugees, because basically, I mean, I was inspired by my in-laws who have taken on a Ukrainian mother and daughter to live with them, and I just think it's absolutely phenomenal and I just, I suppose it inspired me, and I realised that I wouldn't be able to do that. Like I couldn't physically cope with that, like mentally, to be honest. So I thought, how can I help in another way? So I've used my reach on social media to kind of raise some sponsorship, and I think we've raised. I need to check again, but I think I'm up to about £1,400. So the initial thing was just to try and beat the 382 we raised in February. But the response has been absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I think about £1,500 to donate to the. So very proud of that. Hopefully make a little difference.
So plans for the future then, Josh? You've obviously got the day job, if you like, as the Lean Body Strength Club coach. That's going really well. And what other events have you got coming up down the track?
So in July, there's maybe 5 or 6 people that I coach who have qualified for Britain's Strongest Man under 80 kilos on July the 23rd in Edinburgh. So the top 3 from that, if you can finish top 3 in that, we can qualify to World's Strongest Man under 80 kilos, which is in America in, I think, November. So that's the goal. The goal is to ideally win or only get beaten by one of my clients, like that. Which, because that's what happened with the main competition on Sunday. I also competed in the main competition, the England Strongest Man under 80 kilos. So it was like I won. It felt like I won that as well, because I came second to Tim Daglish, who is like my training partner, my client, another local guy from Lancaster.
So how do we find you then, Josh? I know you've got your Insta account and of course your business. Give us the sales pitch and the plug. How do we find all about you and your services? So
Instagram, Josh Lancaster, strongman under 80 kilos. Just search for it and it should come up. On YouTube, the youtube.com/British Strongman Coaching. So for people who are maybe interested in, I don't know, like having a go at strongman or seeing what you do, just have a look on the YouTube, and there's loads of like free like, it's part of my business, I suppose, is like giving out loads of free coaching content. So just a brilliant way for people to have a look, and you know, maybe people who go to like a commercial gym or whatever, and you can give some of the things a go. So yeah, just have a look on YouTube or Instagram, and or Lean Body Strength Club on Facebook. And if anybody's interested in like around the Lancaster and Morecambe area, like you can book in some sessions with one of the coaches here. So just message us if anybody's interested by this. And remember, like you don't have, there's no kind of prerequisites to do strongman or strongwoman. If you see it on TV and you think, oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it be good if I could give it a go, if there was something light enough for me to do? Well, we do have stuff that's light enough for all levels. So yeah, don't be afraid to give it a go if you find it interesting.